Welcome to the Angel Empowerment Healing Show with your hosts, Cindy Smith and Sam Bell. Join them every week as they share powerful tools, advice, and angel messages that will empower you to own your wellness. Welcome to the Angel Empowerment Healing Show with myself, Cindy Smith.
And with me, Sam Bell. And we are excited to welcome one of our founding members, Amy Grigg. Amy, good evening. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me on again.
Well, we love you, so we brought you back. And the subject for this evening is something pretty special. So I'm going to hand it over to Cindy, because I think you drew a card for Amy. Is that right?
Did draw a card. When we asked Archangel Raphael, what would you like Amy to share with our listeners? And it's from our Inspire, Change, and Healing Relationship deck with the crystals and the archangels. And it is the card, You Are Loveable. And so obviously, I believe, and who knows where this theme takes us in the show, but Raphael usually guides in a way that we're to discuss the topic, and You Are Loveable is one of those main topics for all of us, is to remember that positive energy towards self. So Amy, just share what you just shared when we first were coming on to the call to record.
Of course. So when you buy one of the decks from Cindy, she actually is very lovely and does a card pull for you and writes it in the beginning of the book with a nice little message. And the one that Cindy pulled for me was, You Are Loveable. And so I did a little giggle for myself when Cindy pulled that for Raphael to discuss. I'm like, of course.
So obviously he had some higher plans for us that we're going to talk about. So I'm going to read the message, and then we'll all channel with Raphael as to what is the importance for our podcast. So it's Archangel Jophiel is the archangel that's always known for the love vibration. So whether it is self-love or relationship love, any type of love, it's Jophiel. So here is her message. My child, love flows through your heart center. You are a conduit of love with us, the divine. Believe in your ability to receive and give love with ease and gentleness. Unakite is the crystal, and the crystal message is, I am a stone that helps balance giving and receiving. I help focus on developing and receiving love vibration by releasing negative emotions, negative habitual thoughts, and negative inner dialogue. So both are powerful messages, and we often talk about the negative dialogue, but when you thought of You Are Loveable as a healer, Amy, because you're one of our founding members and you do healing and you also receive healing. So in the context of You Are Loveable, where do you think Raphael was taking you in a way to talk about for the podcast show?
Basically, since I got that deck from you and got that message, You Are Loveable, that card, that is something I've been working on for a while. So this is something that I've been integrating and incorporating and expanding and exploring. And so the one action on there, or the affirmation piece is that really stood out for me and that I've been really exploring is, I love and accept myself as I am. And so that brings the question, it's like, well, who am I? Because there's a lot of things that we do to mask ourselves, but like, who really am I? And so I've been on this journey of, it's not quite rewilding, but like pulling back all of the filters and the masks and everything to just figure out who I am, as opposed to what I'm layering on to. So it's like, I'm starting to get quite drastic, guys. So like, no makeup. I don't even shave anymore, guys. Like nothing. I'm like pulling it right back to like when I'm doing things, am I doing it for creativity, or am I doing it because I'm trying to hide part of myself or change part of myself? So So when it's you are lovable and it's I love and accept myself as I am, it's that journey that I've been going through as to discovering and pulling back and the reasons why I do things.
Wow. Well, that was in depth, Sam. I'm going to let you respond.
Well, I hear you, and I love that because obviously one of the things that I have been working on for a number of years now is being my authentic self, and that was all because, yeah, who am I? Who was I as a child growing up? And those layers, so many of those layers are put on us by society, by our friends in school, by our teachers. But for me in particular, it was my mother. And for me, my mother, well, I believed only until about 12, 13, 14 years ago, I think it was, that I was really ugly and that I had this horrible smile. And that if I let my smile, if I smiled with my mouth open, that people would laugh at me. And that was my belief system. That was what I needed to strip away. And one of the toughest things I did in my healing journey was to look in the mirror and look at myself in the eye and say, I love you. And that is just so powerful. I would scream and squirm, trying not to look at myself while I was saying that. But it was how I needed to shed those layers that you talk about. And makeup was one of the things that I used to put loads of makeup on. I would hate to be seen without my makeup on, not because I was vain, but because I didn't want to inflict my ugly face on the world. Now I love to wear makeup and I wear it for me. I do it all for me. So everything that you said there, it just resonates. And I can't say how important it is that other women and men out there listening hear this message. So thank you, Amy.
So, yes. And Raphael, we never script this. It's all just by whatever is happening at this moment in time. And so one of the things, as soon as you said, I love myself as I am at this moment in time, and both of you have said that. And, the angels are always reminding us, love yourself as we, the divine, love you, because they see us in perfect form. They see us with no faults. They see us as perfect as we are. So here's another topic that Archangel Raphael wants to talk about. But first he wants to, he's telling me to say to both of you, in gratitude for being vulnerable and sharing your truth with our listeners. Okay? Second, as a healer, as we're all angel empowerment practitioners, and we love ourselves as we are, how do we guide our clients that may be going through different illnesses and pain or things that they stop seeing their body, like think of their physical body that is perfect as the divine sees it. So, ladies, you're up. How would you share with your clients around that?
I guess I'll go first. One of the things that I do, or I like to do with people, is at the beginning, we do a little bit of like brain-heart harmonization. And part of that is getting yourself into a place of gratitude. And when we do that, sending it to your body and sending it to your cells and being present in your body and just like, okay, start with your feet, start with your ankles and just kind of like move through the body and just fill your body full of gratitude, like, and just see like the happy little cells smiling, getting the love bath that you're giving them. So like everything as you are in the present and just filling yourself full of gratitude and doing that. And then once we've done that, then it's like moving into the language where everything is nice and warm and fuzzy and and happy. And it's really nice sending that love to yourselves.
I love that,
just
Amy. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm loving this. That is exactly it. And, the language is just so beautiful because it is telling your body how to work at its optimal function, right? To be in our most perfect health and to be able to start from that place of gratitude. I always think about I know I'm going there again, the nervous system, but our parasympathetic and our sympathetic, in other words, our autonomic nervous system, which I always want to call automatic, is because we don't tell our body what to do when we're sleeping. We don't tell our body, hey, heart, keep beating. Hey, lungs, keep breathing. We don't tell our bodies to do all of that thing when we're eating a meal. We don't say, hey, all the different glands in my gastrointestinal tract release all the, the hormones that are necessary and the enzymes that are necessary to digest our food. Our body does that all the time. And to be able to say thank you for doing all of that is just such a beautiful part of our healing. Right, Cindy?
It is, yes. Both great examples. I love that, both of you. The other thing that I do with clients, because, we're all about language with the Angel Empowerment Healing Program. And once in a while, when we have a lot of our language, we'll have those positive affirmations at the end. And once in a while, Raphael will guide me to get them to, when they say it out loud, I ask them what follows the statement. And what I'm looking for is, because we all do it, because we're human, but if I were to say, I'm 100% pain-free and I'm in perfect love, whatever it is, but, so as soon as the word but comes in our thoughts, we're overriding what we just said, because the but is telling our unconscious mind that there's something wrong. So if, most people understand that I have type 1 diabetes, and if I was to say my pancreas works in perfect order, I usually have a but behind there, because in my reality, it stopped producing insulin. So if I go, my pancreas is working in perfect balance with my Omnipod and my insulin uptake, there is no buts. So sometimes we also have to be realistic with what we're saying. However, I really ask our listeners to be aware of when you're doing any type of affirmations, any positive talk to self, and you add the but. Because that but and whatever's after it overrides, but I'll get better at this. Or, but I might not like, I love my smile. I love my smile, but I wish my nose was different.
Like, what's wrong with my nose? Sorry.
That's what I used to say as a kid. Because everybody would comment on my smile as a positive thing, but my nose is a negative. So if I walked around thinking, oh, my smile is beautiful, but my nose is a little big, see how I just I overrode the positive. So as angel empowerment practitioners, it's us making sure once in a while, I believe, and remind me to talk about this in the next upcoming class, but I believe that we've got to check in a lot with our clients to see if they're doing the buts when they're saying the language. Because we say the language, they follow us, and if they're adding the buts, but I'm in too much pain, or but this, it actually overrides. What would you guys like to share with that?
I guess one thing that's been mentioned a couple times here, and I keep on getting told, you guys, is about pain, how you've noticed that. And then a lot of times and I love the language. I forget what language it is in particular, but there's one that talks about the pain matrix.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is thanking the pain matrix for doing its job.
Yep.
because it's part of our function. It is doing its job. So it's like when we just like want to get rid of all this stuff too, it's like, but it's functioning perfectly for what it's meant to do. So it's like, thank you for doing its job. I've heard what you have to say. Now you can quiet down now, right? Like it's part of that. It's even that level of acceptance too, and working through that like with all parts, even things that are deemed negative.
Yeah, I love that you chose pain as an example, because pain is something that many people can relate to. And you're absolutely right. The language does ask the pain matrix to quiet its response. And I think that one of the things that I was taught, at university when I was studying nursing, was that pain is actually our friend, because pain is there saying that there's something out of whack in our body and that we need to pay attention to it. So once we know what is causing that pain, then we can work on that. And obviously, when we're using the language, we have so much language to talk about so many different ailments and symptoms. There might be language for a specific condition that actually causes pain, but we've also got language which is directly to relieve pain. And they sort of layer one another and work together with our body. Just the language is so powerful. And we have our founders, Dr. Carl LaRue, who initially found that language for us, channeled it from Archangel Raphael. And of course, Cindy here, she's always checking in on our language. Hey, Amy? And I don't mean bad language, but the way that we should be speaking correctly, with no buts or nots or no's, because our Cindy is a neuro-linguistic practitioner. In fact, she has a master's in NLP. So just wanting to throw that in there, listeners, just in case you've missed that.
Well, yes, it's so important for Raphael and Michael always that sometimes the language, they've got me almost hypersensitive to it. Whereas I use it for listening to my clients, because by verbiage back to me also, it also lets me know what their unconscious wants me to know. Mm-hmm. And that I'm forever grateful that I took NLP, because it just helps in so many levels for Angel as an instructor and as a healer, and to be able to teach all the practitioners in whatever course I'm teaching. Yes, language is a key. And when it comes down to what we're talking about for this show is I am lovable. I am perfect as I am, because the divine is always reminding us we are perfect as we are. If we walked around saying how perfect and lovable we were, and it would be much healthier for our body, our physical body, with any ailments that we have, whether it's emotional, spiritual, physical, or mental. The thing is that we're human, and we do have those thoughts that come up. Mm-hmm. But the more that we are aware to be able to switch it and say, I am lovable, I am perfect as I am. And Raphael's reminded me too, over the years of me working with clients that really struggle with the I am lovable, one of the things that they have often is allow the client or the person to sit in what it's like to be loved by the divine. Because most of us get that sense of the divine love us for exactly who we are. And when people can drop into feeling the love from their angel team or an archangel and really tap into that strength of it, it's much easier to bring the balance that we are lovable as we are. And often, if somebody's really struggling with I am lovable energy, then I will guide them to be tapping into the divine love. Any comments, ladies?
Well, just the one thing that came to me as you were talking there is, I'm an empowerment coach, and one of the biggest things that I struggled with on my own journey was that I was not loved unconditionally. All right. And as you're speaking there, it's that unconditional love. We need to love our body unconditionally. That's exactly how our angels love us, unconditionally, because they have no ego. It's just pure and divine, as you always remind us, Cindy. So yeah, unconditional love. It's not just self-love. It's not just, loving ourselves. It's loving ourselves unconditionally. No buts.
Amy?
I was just thinking, I love that add-on, Sam. 'Cause, yeah, the unconditional love, the love without judgment. It's absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, love without judgment. Now, there is a great statement, because there's no nots, there's no don'ts, there's without it. So that's perfect. Love without judgment. That's another way to line up the I am lovable. There is no judgment in that. There's no judgment in that statement. I am lovable. I am perfect as I am. And as with Raphael, as a client or a practitioner, this is a whole nother, sorry, team, we've only got a few minutes. So Sam, let's, in another episode, the I am lovable and in perfect health, let's talk about cancer. Okay, because it does, cancer is one of those diseases. As soon as anybody's diagnosed with cancer, it means there are the rare occasions without it doing it, but it more than likely puts people down that rabbit hole, and definitely upset with the body. Okay. And so I would like let's talk about cancer and angel empowerment healing, an episode for that. So yes, I think that's part of it, because as soon as I heard Raphael say there are certain times when it can be a struggle for your clients to stay in that lovable energy.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the biggest examples and this is going all the way back to when I was probably 18 or 19 years old, and I learned about how to nurse a stroke patient. And I know you've heard me say this before, but more often than not, a stroke will affect one side of the body or the other. And a stroke patient will then start to ignore the side of the body that has been affected. And that's a perfectly normal and natural reaction. But as a nurse, you're taught to bring their attention to that part of the body, placing their arm in front of them, and massaging that part of the body, bringing the attention there and the love for that part of the body. So, that is a very, very, and I know there are nurses out there that are probably as old as me, and they remember being taught exactly the same thing. But it all comes down to loving our body, not judging it because it's out of whack. It's not doing as we expect it to be doing. And I can share that I've been undergoing a number of medical tests recently, and I slipped into judgment. I was angry with my body because it was doing things that it shouldn't be doing. And then it's Raphael that comes in and says, hey, stop judging, love your body, and I use my language, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, it's always good language that we use.
They're always good.
Never bad language.
Oh. Good. Very good reminder. Wow. Thank you, Archangel Raphael, once again, because you never know when we start our podcast where we're going. And thank you, Amy, for joining us, and some great little aha moments for our listeners. And I just love when we can have those sharing that's coming from the heart. So thank you very much. Amy, for joining us on the I Am Loveable podcast.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. This little love sharing here.
I know,
Yeah.
it's lovely.
Sam, how can everybody find Amy?
You can find Amy on our website, so angelempowermenthealing.com/founding members, founding-members. And this is Amy Grigg. She is one of our founding members and supports Cindy and I as we bring angel empowerment healing to the world and to you, our listeners.
Yes, so thank you everyone, our listeners, for taking the time. We really love sharing Raphael's messages and insights and our own personal insights and healing. So thank you once again. Bye for now. My name is Cindy Smith.
And this is Sam Bell. Tune in next time.
Thank you for joining us on the Angel Empowerment Healing Show. Your hosts, Cindy Smith and Sam Bell, will be back next week with more tools, advice, and angel messages to empower you to own your wellness. Visit our podcast page at www.angelempowermenthealing.com/podcast, where you will receive 3 healing meditations recorded as a thank you for being one of our listeners.